Now, there is something not well understood, and my mom had posted something that I'll show. So it's this right here, but not many people know what it actually is in Christianity. Now, some people are going to understand, and some people are going to get really freaking mad at me. Alright, so you can see the actual word here, and yes, it is what you think it is. But look at what this says. Okay, intermediaries. They guide people, emotions and influence, and it is a Greek word in ancient Greece. Okay. Influencing individuals against their will. Began to equate this with evil spirits and fallen angels. Okay, so right here at the bottom in the blue, they influence minds and emotions leading to mental anguish. Now, what does that sound like? It's people being against themselves, essentially. All the bad thoughts that you have about yourself. Yeah, this little thing right here, it's real. Now, if what I'm saying is true, there should be no contradictions and blah, blah, blah. But the Bible does have contradictions only because it's not fully understood. Ask me questions. Go right ahead. Now, why are demons your emotions and everything bad about yourself that you tell yourself, essentially? Because of this little stuff right here. Look, it says the Holy of Holies, and they used it as cannabis, is what they called it. You can see it right here, too. Now, not that I'm advocating it or anything else, but with the myth knowledge that I have, it gives you a different perspective. You could just read all of this. Many different cultures used it to talk to God and do a whole bunch of different things, different rituals, and okay, so maybe that's why it's bad against the law and everything. Ever think about that? Yeah, I know I sound like a conspiracy nut, but think about Jesus. If he was the closest to God, and he was the one to, because he got misunderstood, anyone that gets close to God is going to be for being misunderstood. Get my drift? I am the way, the truth, the life. Okay, so he was the way to follow. Now, Mom, I know you don't want to talk about religion and all that, but this is necessary to get happy. Because without this, you never can. And no, don't comment about anything from anybody else, because ain't one of you mother effers ever had true happiness, or else you would be like Jesus. For joy and happiness is the light. But basically what the cannabism thing is, imagine that you smoke. You're not going to be talking bad about yourself. You're not going to be rageful and stuff like that, right? Gotta make it sense. Demons are in your head. What's Satan and Lucifer? Adversary, accuser, an opponent. It's a title instead of a name. God isn't his name, but that's what we call him. Okay? In our tribe in ancient times, they were called chieftains and kings. Now they're presidents, world leaders, government, and all that. Now in ancient times, these emotions, these thoughts were seen as spirits and deities, but we see it as psychology today. If you can reach enlightenment, you can get over yourself, remember who you were, then you can leave. Who is called greatest in the kingdom of heaven? You can read right there. There's the answer. Little kids. Now, what do kids do? Laugh, play, share. They have nothing bad to say about themselves. Are you starting to get it yet? Essentially, Eastern practices, they would do meditation and everything else and become monkish. The Middle Eastern had a different idea, and they used the cannabism, holy holies, and everything else, and they tried to battle it their own way. And there's many different ways to possibly battle this thing, but you must get rid of this thing inside of your head. This is actually what I'm trying to tell my wife about right now. It's called the ego death. Now look at this, see if it don't sound familiar. You got self-surrender. Okay, sacrifice self to self with Odin. Surrender and rebirth. Okay, temporary, permanent loss feeling. Jesus dies. Transformation, rebirth, the resurrection. It's very symbolic. I'm not saying that was the resurrection, but you can see symbolism there. But essentially, we must kill the Satan adversary, the accuser, because we always accuse ourselves. And then we can be happy. Now look at this and see if it don't seem familiar. Sound like scripture? There was a person to learn from. I would think Solomon or Jesus. Because Solomon was supposed to be considered the most wise, and he would interpret it as it would be. Or Jesus, because he was always there with God, right? Because the Word made flesh, and yeah. Also, a little fun fact, there was only a few people who could actually control demons in the Bible. The Greek word daimon, and Greek and Roman mythology, so it should have the original meaning. Horse and fish, okay, is the hippocampus from Greek mythology, essentially, is one of the creatures that is a demon, apparently. Now, what do we know the hippocampus as? It deals with emotional regulation. Huh. There you go. We just put it outside of ourselves because we want to be rescued. We don't want to deal with it ourselves. So I put it outside of ourselves, hoping somebody else will deal with it. It's sad to say, but accountability. That's basically what the post was. Now, is all of this the problem? Or is it what you tell yourself or what other people tell you? Let's say if a person was stuck out in the woods in a cabin by themselves and they had no kind of life experience for someone to tell them otherwise. Would they tell something bad about themselves to themselves? We are only trained and programmed by the world to tell ourselves these things. We have to become a certain aspect of ourselves, blah, 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 blah. They want us to succeed, and you ain't got to do nothing but what you want to do. That is what makes you actually happy. That is what brings you back to being a kid. Everything else, laugh, play, joy, happiness, light. So simple.